Hey guys, welcome back. Tisha here, back for another Real Housewives of Atlanta review. This is season 16, episode 14, chapter 2, Renew. If there's something that I don't mention that you want to talk about, feel free to put it down below because I feel like there's going to be a lot that I don't talk about. This was a decent episode overall, but I did at certain points find myself getting irritated. It looks like majority of what we're going to get from Phaedra is much of the same, where all she's going to do is shade people in confessions. And I get that it's supposed to be like funny and a chuckle moment, but I just find myself being really annoyed by her because you're so quick to talk about everyone else and shade everyone else and make little comments about everyone else, yet we still don't know anything personal about Phaedra. But let's jump into it. So it's the next morning and everyone seems to have good energy. Even though the ladies kept talking about Drew at various points in this episode, at one point they were enjoying each other's company because we get a flashback of the previous night and we see that. We see Portia and Drew actually laughing, like we can hear it. We also hear that Britt had a rough night because she took a lot of shots with the ladies, and at some point they had to pull over the vehicle because she was getting sick. So she literally, and she says that she was taking off her clothes because she did not want to get her sickness on herself. Angela in another room continues to show us that her husband isn't into her. I don't really like this for Angela, but going as far as telling us that you called him on your anniversary and he was too busy cooking to really talk to you, it makes me wonder if you get that when you say things like this, all you're doing is giving the ladies and us, the audience, more things to think like he's really not that into you. So here she is yet again. It's 10 o'clock in the morning, and she's trying to call Charles, and he's not answering. And she keeps calling him to the point where she's getting the answer machine. I can't remember if it said the mailbox is full, but she got an answer machine. But you see that with the scene, and then in confessional, you're telling us that you're falling more and more in love each day. It's giving fake, it's giving Angela is trying to cover up the fact that Charles really isn't that great to her, at least not from what I can see. Now, some people may be okay with the bare minimum, but for me, if I'm going to marry you, I would have expectations that you work with me, not against me, that you actually pick up the phone when I call and act like you care rather than acting like I'm a nuisance. So the ladies gather at different points for breakfast. We find out that at this point, Phaedra has seen all of Sue and Britt because she doesn't wear bras or draws. Shamia arrives and we find out that she did actually have a couple of outfits on her carry-on. I think she said 3, but at this point they still cannot find her luggage. The way that I would be annoyed by this, but Shamia is being a good sport about it, just shows where she is. Now, here's the thing. Shamia has money. She could have bought herself some more clothes, but it's still, an aggravation to not have your things, right? So as they wait for Portia, it is announced that their ladies are going to be separated. They're going to have 2 different groups going out to 2 different areas. One group will be with Kelly and they're going to be cooking a native dish, and the other is going to be with Shamia and they're going to go to a waterfall. Shamia and Kelly divide the ladies based on how they're rooming. So one set of roommates go with one person and one set go with another because they want to encourage people to mingle. But I don't know if the separation was really as fair as they try to make it seem, because to me it was given like OGs versus the newbies, because you got Faye, Cynthia, Portia, and Shamia going to the waterfall, and then you got the newbies, Angela, Kelly, Brittany, and I guess they consider Drew a newbie, going that way. Now they didn't say the whole newbies thing, but that's the energy that it's giving to me. So Phaedra lets Kelly know before they're leaving that she's too loud. And Kelly is in confessional and she does this whole thing where she's faking whispering. But Kelly says she doesn't really care about, Phaedra's opinion. So she's not going to let that stop her. She's going to be loud. Cynthia lets it be known that she doesn't mind the noise. She doesn't mind that Kelly's loud. What she has a problem with is the fact that people keep talking over each other. That is something that these ladies do a lot of. And had I been in that situation, it would annoy me too. I am very vocal at times, but one of the things that I know about myself is because I'm vocal, there are times where I pause. That way, other people can express themselves. Because other than that, it's just a whole bunch of people sounding like chihuahuas as they try to get their point across. So Kelly wants to know if passing the crystal helped. And Cynthia was like, yeah, it helped a little, while Britt doesn't agree. She points out that she had the crystal and it seemed like nobody really wanted to listen to her or they care what she had to say. And Britt, that's because they didn't. It served absolutely no purpose for Britt to mention Apollo. It made it come off like she was trying to insert herself. Britt very much is, I don't want to call her a pick me because I don't think she's a pick me, but I do think that Britt is the type of person who struggles being on her own. I feel like she wants to be the center, and she's already told us that she's had problems in the past with friendship with girls. Like, we know that in high school, she didn't have a lot of friends. And when I watch her in these instances, I think it's something that she continues to carry with her because she can't just be okay with being in the room and not having to be a focal point at some time. So my thing is, we barely care about Fei Fei. So what makes her think that we're going to care about her ex-husband and his soon-to-be ex-wife? We didn't even know that the man was there. And the way that they talk later on, it doesn't seem like he was there at all. So why did you bring this up? It makes absolutely no sense. But maybe I missed it. You guys tell me down below. So Shamia feels like Britt came out of nowhere with that, and she says it. And that, she wasn't really trying to hear about that. What she was trying to hear about was Black. Now, this is where I got an issue with Shamia. Because Shamia, you're always trying to carry bones for Portia. Why do you care about Black? Black is irrelevant. You claim you and Drew aren't friends. You don't like the fact that she called you a lapdog. So why are you still trying to find out more information? You were whack with meeting with Ralph, and now you're whacker because here you are still trying to cause problems for this girl. Drew has issues when it comes to her husband. I may question some of the things that she's done online recently, but we're not going to sit here and act like you don't know that Ralph has been a problem for her. Leave Drew alone. Isn't it funny how they gave Drew the last seat, from what we can tell based on what's been revealed, on the seating chart for the reunion? Yet in every shot, at some point, somebody's mentioning something about Drew. It's clear to me that production isn't getting it. And I'm wondering what else Drew gave them that they didn't show, because it's not gelling with me. So there's notable tension there with Shamia and Britt, and I don't get what Shamia's issue is. They get into the vehicles. Portia points out how she's noticed some tension between Britt and Shamia just feels like she can't say anything without Britt being defensive. That Britt is always so defensive, and so are a lot of you all. Because Shamia, the same way that you got a problem with the way Britt responds to things, you a little snippy and snappy too. You were a little passive aggressive too, but we'll get to it. At some point, I can't remember where it was, the shots convo comes up. We see a clip of Britt saying that she feels pressure to take shots, and she feels like it's for high school. That's your problem. I wasn't taking shots in high school. Maybe some of you all were, but I didn't drink until I got to college. But for me, it's just a simple thing of know your limit. Say no, thank you. Guess what? The other day, my friend had all these different celebrations for her birthday. And we went out to brunch, and the people around me, including her, were taking shots left and right, and they were drinking drinks, and I didn't take any shots. I enjoyed my water along with my brunch food. You want to know why? Because number one, I didn't feel like taking shots right then. Number two, the money that was spent on them shots, I could have very easily went to the liquor store and got myself a big old bottle of stuff. It wasn't worth it to me. I'd much rather have kept that money in my pocket. And even if that wasn't the case, let's just say I didn't want to take shots, which I didn't, then don't take the shots. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. You're an adult. Like, why are you worried about peer pressure? So, in my opinion, the OG car ride involved a lot of shade throwing, right? They were throwing shade left and right, because at one point they're talking about Drew and her supposed dynamic with Black. Then they're talking about Drew and the lapdog comment. Then Drew and her clothing. Then Drew and looking like she's a Flintstone. Then they go from that to talking about Angela and her husband and how he likes to have fun. And then they talk about Britt and her lack of a donation. And I just feel like it's a bit much. So Shamia says she donated like 3 rolls and then later cash apped her $250. And she wants to talk to her about it. I thought, based on what you said at dinner, that you talked to her off camera, and I think she said the place was Houston's. So why do you feel like you need to talk to her now on camera about it? That's my first thing. My second thing is, why are you bringing this up with the girls? So Faye says something that I do agree with, which is that with the level that they're all on, $1,000 should be the standard. I think that's very valuable. Well, not valuable, very valid, because you got people like Kelly spending over $1,000 at the dog groomer. You got Britt, who bragged about that expensive behind ring that she had on her finger, and the bags, and the house, and the moving her mom in, and her husband getting her a new car. So my thing is, if you're gonna donate, donate. My problem is with this whole situation, though, if Shamia wanted to bring up a problem, what she should have said was she had a problem with Britt acting like she had a whole bunch of other things that she would be having somebody drop off, and she didn't. I would have appreciated that more than you complaining about the girl spending $250 to everybody else. So the OG ladies go to a beautiful waterfall where a man and his monkey greets them. This is what I like to see with trips. Show me the beauty of this destination. Let's go on an adventure. Let's see the culture. Let's enjoy the culture. Let's see the foods and the festivities and the things of that nature. So they take pictures. Let me tell you something. Portia's body is sick. I don't know if she did lipo. I don't know if she had a BBL. I don't know. She just took the fat out and got it injected in her booty. But Portia leaned back, and baby, it was abs and some more stuff, which might be why Shamia said that she felt like her body where it wasn't where it needed to be for a 2-piece. But I thought Shamia looked good. Like, who said that you got to be all cut up? Baby, you gave birth, and you've had hormones, and you've done all these different things. Show yourself some grace, right? So the ladies are having a good time at the water. They're twerking a little. They're enjoying the water. They head to lunch. At lunch, Faye mentions it being weird that Britt mentioned Apollo. And Portia and the rest of them find it to be weird too. Then Portia talks about Britt, not putting forth effort to get to know everyone. Then the subject of Black comes up, and Drew saying that he's just a friend, but there's videos and stuff of them hanging out. Why are you so concerned, Portia, about what Drew has going on? What else do you have going on? Do you want to let us get an update about Simon? Do you want to tell us some things about your business? Like, why is your focus on Drew so much? Let's say she is messing with Black. Is it your business to tell? No, it's just getting on my nerves. So the other ladies head to their cooking class that happens to be on the land of a Black distillery owner. They were impacted by the hurricane. So, things are a little different there right now, and they're trying to bounce back. They are drinking cocktails and flirting, and they're going to be cooking oil done outside. It looks like a stew to me. I saw breadfruit. Oh my God, y'all. I have some breadfruit in the freezer. And let me tell you something. While they were cooking, I just was like, I gotta make me some stuff. I have some ackee and stuff too. So I really want to make some ackee and sawfish, but I have to be in the mood to do it, because what I've noticed about myself is when I make dishes that I learned to cook when I was little, they come out so much better and taste more like the ancestors when I am in the mood to do it. If I'm not in the mood to do it, I'm like, oh, it's missing something. When I'm in the mood to do it, it's like somebody took my hand and, and then told me how much herbs or whatever to put in there, right? Anyways, so I'm seeing that they're making the dumpling, they're rolling a dumpling. I love dumpling in my oxtails. I like fried dumpling more, but I don't eat that with oxtails. But anyway, they're rolling up the dumpling that he's already pre-made. He got the flour and the baking soda and all that stuff together already, and he has a dumpling sitting there for them to roll it up and put it in. And they do all that stuff. And I noticed that Kelly is having, she's more hands-on with it. We see her touching the meat and things of that nature, because it was like pork and chicken and something else, one of the local plants of the area, and they made that up over an open fire. It looks beautiful. So the handsome men are out there assisting them as they cook or as they watch the cooking. Once they're finished, they go to sit down and eat. Britt can't eat anything. They weren't considerate enough to have something on the side for her because she doesn't eat pork or red meat. So she couldn't eat any of the stuff. But as the ladies are sitting there eating, that she's enjoying the view, and she speaks on how, yeah, like this is a reset, that she's enjoyed her time, like even with Drew and Angela, who she had beef with, who she had issues with. She's enjoying them. And I can't understand what issues you had with Drew. The issues that you had with Angela didn't even make sense at first, but we understood what transpired with that because the both of y'all were going at each other after Angela kind of called you out and you couldn't handle it. So you bringing up that is like, okay, Britt, you're reaching a little bit, but whatever. So Kelly holds up a black napkin and she's like, let's talk about this. And she's talking about Black. Kelly, you're so messy sometimes. Drew lets them know that her and Black are friends, that they do flirt, they do hang out. If and when she does fall in love again, she will shout it from the mountaintop. So there's no need for them to keep speculating about anything. Britt says she's felt like a certain energy coming off of Shamia. I think I got this out of order. And it started coming from her declining to take more shots. I think that's in the wrong spot. But either way, that happened. So everyone is heading back to change and get ready for their dinner with the prime minister. That really wasn't a dinner with him. It just was him stopping by to say hello and thank you. And I think he ended up having a drink with them, but he didn't stay long. It makes me feel like they ain't donate as much as I'm thinking that they donated. Because for these ladies to have the type of money that they have, for this to be a situation where more than likely Bravo is paying for their trip and their stay and all those other things, what would it have been for them to collectively give Grenada a $10,000 check along with supplies? I just feel like y'all want to keep bragging about your donations and things of that nature. I want this to kind of be like a repeat of Africa where we get to see like, yeah, these ladies are really digging in. We haven't seen that yet. I don't know if we're going to see it at all. And I'm not talking about having to see the people that they're donating to, but I wanted to see like, what were you working on? What was some of the damage? Is their money going to go to this? Stuff like that. So they're on their way back to the villa. Portia and Shamia are bonding as they sing some song. And Shamia is just so happy to have her best friend back, to the point where she says, I might not have my luggage, but I got my best friend. They get there. Everybody's getting ready. Angela calls Charles and he finally answers. He is acting like she is bothering him. He won't even tell her that he misses her. Angela, I need you to stop forcing this man to be something he is not. Charles is an older gentleman. I hate to say it like this, but much like some women, when men get a certain age, when people get a certain age, there is no changing them. They are who they are. Unless it's some type of thing where they actually want to change and they do like really, really hard work, the likelihood of you molding him into this new person is just not going to happen. And it seems to me, as they're talking on the phone, that he enjoys embarrassing her because she's like, tell me, give me some words of encouragement or this, or you don't miss me. And he's like looking at her. He doesn't tell her he misses her. So they end up getting off the phone. Shamia uh walks in this beautiful yellow dress. It's a dress that is Portia's that she lent her. It looks good on her. All the ladies look nice. Shamia is in the kitchen getting ready to have some shots, and she is being passive aggressive because she is feeling away, and she keeps making comments about people not having to take a shot, but she's always going to offer a shot. And if people don't want to take a shot, then they don't have to take a shot, but she's going to take a shot. It's not that deep. I have friends that drink. I have friends that don't. I myself sometimes fall in that category. There are times where I can go 6 months to a year. I think, yeah, one time I did go a year without drinking. And then there are times where it's like every Friday, hand me a glass of wine, por favor. Move accordingly. So they get to this supposed prime minister's dinner. Let me not say supposed, because I don't want to act like he didn't come. It's just not a dinner with him. It's a dinner. And then I wonder about filming. Were they not allowed to go to certain places because they keep having all these private dinners at these beautiful spots? And I just want to see more of the people. So they get there, they're rushing to get there on time because they do not want it to be a thing where he has to wait on their arrival. So they get there and they're waiting. They order some food and some drinks and they start talking about what they did on their different outings and how the waterfall was. And Kelly brings up how the black owned distillery was affected by the hurricane, and that even though they didn't get to give back to them, it's nice to give back. Portia then takes this opportunity to talk about the importance of them giving and how she gave $1,000. I think that that's great that Portia gave $1,000. I just, I wonder if everybody's doing it for the right reasons. Like, why did you have to specify how much you gave? Is it because Shamia told you that she had an issue with what Britt gave? Like, why do we tell the amount? So Shamia then makes a dig by saying, this is when you do your big one, right? We can't pull up in a Bentley and a Rolls Royces with Birkins and not give. Britt automatically knows that this is being directed to her because that's what she did. So Britt's like, "Oh, okay. I sense a little bit of shade there." So Shamia's like, "A few of us have a Rolls Royce. Portia has one. I have one. If I was throwing shade, Britt, you would see it." Um, that's not true because you are throwing shade. The conversation that you had in the car and what you're saying here now is you throwing shade. You didn't directly say anything to her, but what you said was something that she did. So Britt's like, look, you being passive aggressive, and she is. Shamia, I need you to stand on what you said when you were in the Sprinter. You said you're going to talk to her and you were going to say it. So stand in it. Kelly tries to, I guess, help Britt by saying, maybe Britt didn't know what to give. But if we're going to show up and be that girl, then we need to do that in all aspects of life. I said, oh, so this is probably how their beef is going to start because Britt very much so seems like the type that if you're going to call me out, you need to call me out to the side. I think that Kelly was trying to be a middleman and have her friends back while not going too hard on Shamia, and it might have backfired. But what she was saying is right, which is if you bragging about this ring and you're talking about this and you're doing this and you're doing that, then when it comes time for you to donate. Britt doesn't like that Kelly said that and didn't have her back. In her words, it's not giving best friend. Britt says she asked Shamia what to donate, and she was told donate what you feel. So they're going back and forth a little bit. Shamia tells Britt to calm down, to calm down. And Britt is telling Shamia to calm down. And Britt feels like Shamia should have came to her with the issue. And Shamia claims that she did, because she had some conversation with her about this at Houston's. I said, so why are we talking about this now? I'm with Britt on this instance, which this is unnecessary and is tacky. Don't call her out around the other ladies, especially if you already had the conversation with her at Houston's, or if it's a situation where you could have had a conversation with her about this later. So Britt wants to know, she's like, okay, since everybody got, since you got something to say, does anyone else have something that they want to address to me, to my face? And this is when Portia jumps in. So Portia makes her thoughts known, saying how at Britt's event, she stated that she doesn't feel supported, but she's never done anything to get that support. Here's the thing, right? I think Britt wanted more people to have a lot more negative things to say about Kenya. And because they didn't, she was automatically put on defense. I think that Britt thinks that they're supposed to jump in and like act like they're really, really good friends when they're not. I think that because of what transpired in some way or another, people are leery of you, Britt, because you do have a way of flipping it out of nowhere. I also think that Britt does not know how to handle not being included in things, but you do not know these ladies. You just met these ladies. And unlike Kelly, it doesn't seem like you putting forth effort. Kelly may not be giving us a lot right now, but Kelly has filmed multiple scenes with various people. Britt, you haven't really done that. So later on, she talks about how Angela Drew and Portia have never invited, her into their homes. So Britt is addressing Portia, calling Portia out for not inviting her out or calling her or even acknowledging her in a text. So supposedly they had some group text with the ladies and Portia wanted everybody to identify who they were. They acted like they didn't even hear what she said. So when she did send a message, Portia was petty and acted like she didn't know who she was. Um, I'm sure that Portia was given that lady's number and she just didn't save it to her phone. So now they're going back and forth. Britt wants to finish. So she's like, let me finish, baby. And Portia is now done because what you're not going to do is you're not going to talk to her like she's a child or call her baby. So they're continuing to kind of go back and forth a little bit while the prime minister's vehicle is pulling up. And Shami is like, look, we got to put a button in this. He's here. We got to put it. We got to put a button in it. And he comes, and to my shock, they act like they got some sense. So he just comes to say a few words. And Shami is like, can you have a drink with us? Can you stay a little bit long? You don't got to rush anymore. So he does have a drink with them. They flirt, act like he's so fine. When it's giving regular smegular to me, like, I'm not going to say he was unattractive, but the way they were acting was a bit much. So they found out that he has 2 children. And after he leaves, the question or the conversation is like, do y'all think he's married? Because he didn't have a ring on. And that's when the fact that there are men, because even Britt mentions it, there are men who are married that don't wear rings. And Angela lets the ladies know that Charles is one of those men because he doesn't wear his ring. And they're like, are you okay with that? Like, da 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 da. And she's like, it's something that I'll be bringing up in therapy next week. Girl, stop giving these ladies ammo against you. Why do you keep on telling them stuff? See, this is part of the reason why Charles doesn't want to be on the show, because you're telling too much. You can't be revealing all of this stuff when he's not trying to have you reveal it. He wants you to keep your mouth shut and not tell the business. So they bring out a happy anniversary cake to celebrate Angela. She appreciates it. They make comments like the girl is about to leave him or something and they're having so much trouble. I didn't quite understand that part. But she appreciates it. So they leave to head back to their rooms. Britt still is trying to talk to Portia about it as they're about to get in the cars because she feels like they haven't resolved anything. But Portia says there's nothing to resolve. So they get in their separate cars. And as they're heading home, Faye is giving advice to Britt, right? To Sue and Britt. Because she says, at the level that you're at, no less than $1,000 is what's expected. I want to know what level that is because at this point, we don't know what Britt got going on. So Britt starts talking about how people don't invite her. That's when she talked about how Portia and Drew and Angela, you just finished saying that you were beefing with Drew and you were beefing with Angela. Why would they invite you to their homes? Number one. Number two, Drew doesn't have a environment where it's probably even healthy for you to be there because she has a husband downstairs listening to everything. So there's other things here. Is Portia even in her home yet? Or was she going back and forth at her mom's? Like, you don't know why you're not being invited to places. Either way, she's talking about that. So she's like, nobody's invited me. And now I'm in the hot seat tonight. So Faye's like, look, I think you're kind of putting yourself there. You are sitting on ready, and the fussy stuff that you're doing is bull. In other words, every single time somebody says anything, you ready to like come back, and you need to calm down a little bit. She's like, this is a girl group and you need to show yourself friendly. Britt takes her saying you need to show yourself as friendly as Phaedra saying to be fake. But Phaedra's like, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, you complaining about not spending time. They come to the house, put out a charcuterie board, like do things to show effort. So that's what's going in that car. She tells her she needs to do more. So Shamia's in her car. She gets a call from her husband in regards to their daughter and the person that was sent over from the agency and how that person needs to be let go because the person that was sent to take care of their daughter isn't doing a good job taking care of her. That she had the baby in a cold room where she was not properly swaddled or wrapped up. And as a result of that, she's now sick. Now, what makes this worse is Shamia's child, I think is she Shiloh? I don't want to call the wrong name, but her youngest baby has a hole in her heart fluid on her kidneys, and multiple disorders that affect her immune system. So she has a lot of underlying health conditions, and a common cold is dangerous for her. She says that they couldn't even have a first birthday celebration due to her immune system. They couldn't risk getting the baby sick. And as I'm hearing this is the part of Shamia that I like. Not her suffering, but her being honest about her situation, her showing that vulnerability. I don't like the Shamia that is trying to be under Portia's butt or make sure she keeps her friendship. I like the Shamia that's showing up as a wife, as a mother, as a friend, and is currently concerned because of what she's going through with her daughter. So she begins crying in the car, and Kelly sends a message. I don't I think a group message to everyone, letting them know, like, let's surround Shamia because right now some things are going on. So they call. She's like, okay, no problem. So they get to their place in the villa. Everybody's in the main one. Shamia goes and changes into her robe, and she comes in and she's like, it's so quiet, right? And she sits down, and she, as they're talking to her, and they're like, let's all gather and pray for her, she just lets it out. I think that Shamia has this really, really great way of masking her pain. And I think that in that moment, because it's your baby, and let's be clear, if the roles were reversed, I probably would have been leaving, knowing the seriousness of my child's health condition. But Shamia's husband is there. It sounds like he has a support system. And he said if her fever doesn't go down, he's definitely going to take her to the doctor in the morning. So she is like breaking down, crying as Portia and the others are comforting her. And you could just feel the weight of it as she's crying. They're comforting her. They're going to grab hands and pray for her. At some point, Brett ends up coming over to give her a hug, saying that they love her and that, they're there for her. But she goes a little too, like she keeps talking about herself a little bit in that moment because she's like, even though we've been through what we've been through, I'm here for you, girl. I love you. You're my big sister. Even though you hurt me, like, we get it. But, I thought it was going to turn into a thing. It didn't. Shamia received it. She gave her a hug. She was like, okay, you know what? Let's take shots. I'm going to even do a double shot. And she brings the shots over to her like as a truce. They take a shot. Next thing you know, Britt's in the kitchen. She done pulled her thing off, got her titties on the bar area, the island, and the ladies are laughing and things of that nature. So it seems like it got better. If there's something that I left out that you want to talk about, put it down below. I don't know how I feel about some of this, but I guess, we'll see. I'm interested in seeing what's going to transpire from here because we know that Brit is suing them. So I wonder if they're going to cut some things out or they're going to keep things as they are, but I guess we'll see. If you haven't looked at my video on that, go take a look at that because I spoke about it. And that's all I have. Like the video as it helps the channel. Until next time.